Bună dimineața, bine ați venit. Avem o conferință de presă legată de lansarea președinției olandeze în anul 2016. Sunt Cristian Buchiu, adjunctul reprezentanței Comisiei Europene. Înlocuiesc pe doamna ambasador Angela Filote. Va fi un an interesant, 2016. În primul rând, mulțumiri președinției luxemburgheze, care a deținut președinția în 2015, în a doua jumătate. Comisia Europeană felicită Luxemburgul pentru performanța sa. Olanda are o vastă experiență la cârma Uniunii Europene, președinției. Este a 12-a președinție a Olandei. Așa cum președintele Juncker a spus, este a 5-a sau a 6-a președinție pentru dumnealui. Este a doua președinție pentru mine. Obiectivele președinției olandeze se pliază perfect pe obiectivele Comisiei Europene. Asta ne face o misiune relativ ușoară în prima jumătate a anului 2016. Câteva teme pe care ne vom concentra în următoarea perioadă, în acest an, din punctul de vedere al programului de lucru al Comisiei Europene. Prioritatea Comisiei rămâne aceea de a da dovadă de ambiție în cazul chestiunilor importante, de importanță majoră și de moderație atunci când este vorba despre chestiuni mai puțin importante. Vă e cunoscută, cred, expresia în engleză big on the big things, small on the small things. Ne reafirmăm angajamentul de a colabora cu partenerii noștri, Parlamentul European și Consiliul, pentru a obține rezultatele pe care toată lumea le așteaptă. Prima prioritate dintre cele 10 ale Comisiei Europene și ale Comisiei Juncker este legată de crearea de locuri de muncă, creștere și investiții în Europa. Planul de investiții a fost lansat cu succes anul trecut și este în plină desfășurare. Așteptăm în câteva luni lansarea portalului de investiții în Europa, care va oferi o imagine de ansamblu asupra investițiilor pe care Comisia Europeană le va încuraja și le va finanța în Europa. Câteva puncte aici. Vom acorda o atenție specială echilibrului dintre viața profesională și viața privată a familiilor care muncesc, în vederea creșterii participării femeilor pe piața forței de muncă. Comisia își va continua activitățile practice în vederea promovării egalității de gen și în acest an va fi adoptată, sperăm, directiva privind femeile din consiliile de administrație. Este în procedură legislativă în Parlament și în Consiliu. O altă prioritate este Uniunea Energetică. Uniunea energetică va fi însoțită de o politică în domeniul schimbărilor climatice, orientată spre viitor. UE a fost unul dintre principalii actori în cadrul negocierilor de la Paris, care s-au încheiat cu succes în luna decembrie. În 2016, prioritatea noastră este de a pune în aplicare pachetul privind energia și clima pentru 2030. În plus, Comisia va prezenta o propunere de repartizare a eforturilor de decarbonizare a economiei pentru sectoarele care nu fac obiectul schemei de comercializare a certificatelor de emisii. Acestea sunt construcțiile, agricultura și transporturile. Legat de prioritatea Comisiei, un spațiu al justiției și al drepturilor fundamentale bazat pe încredere reciprocă, reiterăm propunerea noastră de revizuire a deciziei cadru privind terorismul pentru a aborda fenomenul luptătorilor teroriști străini. Este vorba de deciziile cadru din 2002, revizuită în 2008. Va urma o nouă revizuire pe care o vom înainta instituțiilor partenere. Privind migrația, în 2016, în drumul către o nouă politică în domeniul migrației, Comisia va propune revizuirea sistemului comun de azil pentru a corecta lacunele și deficiențele sistemului de la Dublin și pentru a consolida rolul Biroului European de Sprijin pentru Azil. În 2016 vom prezenta o nouă abordare privind migrația legală, inclusiv măsuri de îmbunătățire a directivei privind Cartea Albastră. Așteptăm cu interes intrarea în procedură legislativă a propunerii Comisiei Europene din decembrie privind instituirea unui corp de pază european a frontierelor și coastelor. Și ne exprimăm că speranța că Parlamentul European și Consiliul vor ajunge la un acord până la finalul președinției olandeze. Legat de Schengen și migrație, alte câteva puncte. Săptămâna trecută, comisarul Avramopoulos s-a întâlnit miercuri la Bruxelles cu oficiali danezi, suedezi și germani pentru a discuta despre situația creată de reintroducerea controalelor asupra persoanelor la frontierele interne dintre Germania, Danemarca și Suedia. Comisia consideră situația actuală ca fiind excepțională și invită statele membre să depună toate eforturile pentru păstrarea integrității spațiului Schengen și să permită revenirea la normal în cel mai scurt timp posibil. Cu toate acestea, din motive de siguranță publică, Comisia consideră că introducerea temporară, subliniez, a controalelor la frontierele interne respectă codul Schengen. Comisia depune toate eforturile pentru a salvgarda acordul Schengen, spațiul Schengen, și deja am depus o propunere legislativă de amendare a codului frontierelor Schengen, care va permite verificarea sistematică a bazelor de date naționale și europene și în cazul cetățenilor UE, care sunt în acest moment exceptați de la aceste verificări. Acesta este, din păcate, costul pe care trebuie să ni-l asumăm cu toții. Acestea fiind zise, vă mulțumesc. I will now give the floor to Ambassador Stella Roner-Gubacic. Thank you.
Thank you, Christian. Yes. Bună dimineața. We are at the beginning of the 12th EU presidency of the Netherlands, and I'm really honored to have this opportunity to speak about our presidency to you, the press in Romania, and also to my dear colleagues in Bucharest. Romania clearly is a partner country in which, and in the progress that we are making together, we really strongly believe as an important element for our presidency. In the context of today, already outlined by my colleague from the Commission, we perceive ourselves very much as an honest broker, a president that is really here to help build compromises between the 28 member states. So how do we go about that? See if this, yeah. As Dutch, we are very pragmatic and we want to look for solutions in a constructive manner, but we are also realistic. We are aware that the EU is under a lot of strain at this moment. We need to come up with joint solutions, but also, and this I would really like to underline, we need to start delivering on what we agreed by implementing our decisions. In the words of one very known Dutch national in the European Commission, Mr. Vice President Timmermans, we must make sure that Europe is part of the solution and not of the problem. We are also realistic in the sense that a presidency is not anymore the same as it used to be when, for instance, we last had it in 2004, so before the Lisbon Treaty. What this means is we have less power and less influence to set the agenda. We are guided, I think this is clear also from the introduction we just had from the European Commission, by the legislative agenda of the European Commission, and we have the TRIO program that we established together with Slovakia and Malta, my Slovakian colleague here, which we thank for the cooperation. What this means is that we need the commitment and the support of all the member states in order to achieve our goals. So we look to all the member states as partners, and we need to count on each other to accomplish our objectives. Romania is one of them, and we are a partner that Romania can rely on. So being an ambassador here in Bucharest, I'm very eager to intensify cooperation for us to achieve together our goals, which is to the benefit of the EU, but also to the benefit of all its citizens. This brings me to our priorities. For the Dutch presidency, we have identified 4 of them. This is actually a picture of the building, how it looks in Amsterdam, where the presidency meetings will all be concentrated. So 4 priorities. The first one clearly is the integral approach to migration and international security. The key words here are strengthening our external borders, address the root causes, reception in the region, an EU program for resettlement, but also solidarity in terms of relocation of asylum seekers and an effective return policy. The key concept for all of this is we need to start doing what we have agreed. As Dutch, we are also very aware that this is not easy. Opinions within the EU differ on the right way to approach the migration crisis. The crisis obviously hit us where we most feel it, where we are most sensitive. We're not only a union of interests, but we are also a union of values. We have fought for them and we must not lose them. So in our view, there is really no alternative but to take action if we want to preserve our union. The migration crisis is a strain on all countries, on all member states, however, in different ways. So we need really to reach a sustainable solution where the importance of solidarity is overriding. All member states have their responsibility, and we are very glad to see that Romania has established the National Council for Integration of Refugees. There is also obviously the security element. There we focus on counterterrorism. Actually today has started in The Hague a summit on counterterrorism where we try to put on the table the need to know better who are the people on our territories. We need to improve our information on foreign terrorist fighters, and we need to anticipate better the possibility of radicalism in our own societies and be more successful in the prevention thereof. Furthermore, we also need to get a better grip on the financing of terrorism. The other priority, second priority, is a union that is an innovator and a job creator. There we focus on innovation. What this really means is we need an EU, in our view, that is strong, healthy, smart, prosperous and globally competitive. Such an EU is needed to improve life of all the EU citizens. In the Dutch view and in our presidency, we want to put on the table the fact that we still see a lot of untapped potential in the single market. For instance, we want to create a single market for digital products. We also want to ease cross-border e-commerce and simplify VAT rules. What falls under the heading of the internal market also is our agenda on labor mobility. We want to make sure that the EU internal market is fair and that it provides equal pay for equal work. Labor mobility, or in a way the free movement of workers and services, is a key pillar of the internal market, and we must counter exploitation and false competition. We need decent working standards, and we're very much committed to this, also very much with our partner Romania, here in Bucharest. Thirdly, sound finances and a sound euro. We feel that solid and robust financing is a crucial element of Europe's stability. So after years of crisis, reforms and developments of the European Monetary Union are starting to show results. We are now better able to resist financial and economic shocks, and the banking union is an important step, but in our view, there is still room for improvement here. Fourthly, the future-oriented climate and energy policy. The outcome of the negotiations in Paris is a starting point here, and the agreement that was reached there inspires hope. But we strive for more, and more specifically, what we want to achieve is the transition to a circular economy. An economy where natural resources are reused as much as possible. Just one very small example in this process would be the reprocessing of the material of the metals that make up the screens of the mobile phones that all of us are using, instead of mining these metals. As you may know, sorry I didn't show you the pictures that went with my policy priorities. Clearly this was the migration and the security element. Here is Europe as an innovator and job creator. Bicycles, for those of you who haven't immediately recognized them. The euro and the climate and energy policy, where again biking may be an important element. What I wanted to move on next is the things that are unexpected, because as you know, the success of a presidency is not only dependent on the realization of our policy priorities. There are always unexpected events that may occur. In EU language we call them the known unknowns and even the unknown unknowns. We're talking about crisis, we're talking about terrorist threats, we're talking about epidemics, and in some cases elections. Clearly, one of the known unknowns is what is referred to sometimes as Brexit. At this stage, it's obviously very difficult to predict how negotiations are going to develop, but we know for sure it's going to be an issue during our presidency. There are, in a way, three guiding principles, or as I say sometimes, there are three horizontal priorities that underlie our presidency. The first one is really the focus on key issues. We want an EU where we do things in a European way when we think it is necessary to do it on a European level, but where we do it nationally if we can. So we want Europe to be small on small things and big on big things. The second one is innovative growth and jobs. I already mentioned this as a policy priority. Thirdly, we think that it is also very important that the EU is a union that connects with its citizens. That, on the one hand, refers to solidarity between the member states, but also very much between the EU and its citizens. In a country like the Netherlands, many citizens are critical about the EU. We do not hide that anymore. We address this issue. And we do feel that it is important to address their questions. Therefore, we are ambitious to reduce regulations where they are not needed. We also want to strengthen the role of parliaments, and we want an increased transparency. So all in all, we want to bring the EU closer to its citizens, which I actually think here in Romania is an interesting point because it coincides very much with the Romanian government agenda. Where does that bring us at the end of my small introduction? There is a very tough job ahead, especially when it comes to the migration issue. The flow of refugees, in the Dutch view, needs to be stemmed. This is the key priority. On that issue, there are no easy solutions and no quick fixes. In a union of 28 member states, it is sometimes hard to reach agreements. Nevertheless, in our view, we do not have an alternative. We need to have a Europe that provides answers to the problems that we are faced with. We believe they can only be found if we are united. Whether we are Dutch or whether we are Romanian or whether we are any other nationality, we must make sure that Europe works in order to maintain also the values that we believe in and that the EU stands for, but also to prepare ourselves for future challenges. That is the end of my presentation.
Aveți cuvântul, domnule ministru.
Bună dimineața, pot încă să spun. E o plăcere și onoare pentru mine să fiu aici în fața dumneavoastră astăzi, cu ocazia prezentării obiectivelor președinției olandeze a Uniunii Europene pe semestrul întâi al acestui an. Am înțeles că regula, cutuma este aceea de a vorbi în engleză, având în vedere că sunt printre noi colegi, prieteni care stăpânesc în primul rând această limbă. Sigur, în dialogul care va urma cu acordul dumneavoastră vom putea să răspundem, să dialogăm și în limba română, având în vedere că avem facilitățile aferente. Well, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, let me first thank you for the invitation to attend this launching Here in Bucharest of the Dutch EU presidency of the Council. On behalf of the Romanian government, on that of the Foreign Ministry, and if you allow me, on my own behalf, I wish you every success in achieving your mandate. I assure you that Romania's full support for an ambitious European integration agenda, which the Dutch presidency set for itself. The Netherlands, as Ambassador Ronald already mentioned, as the Netherlands takes over the EU presidency in a complicated European context, where we continue to be confronted with unprecedented internal and external challenges. We have a very busy agenda ahead of us. There are no easy answers, certainly. One thing is, however, very clear, and Stella underlined this. These challenges can only be tackled if we act together. But only together we can find viable solutions based on the fundamental values and principles which lay at the foundation of the European Union. The history of the EU project shows that challenges can be turned into opportunities when wisely managed for the benefit of the whole of the Union. For this we need more cohesion, solidarity, and cooperation among us. And I am glad that these are the principles which govern the program of action of the Dutch presidency. We need concrete long-term projects and policies to the benefit of the EU and its citizens. We have reasons to be confident. We count on the Netherlands' valuable experience as a founding member state, which, as mentioned already here, has for the 12th time the EU presidency in order, and definitely by so doing we will find constructive solutions within the EU 28 to the problems of the current agenda. This confidence comes, may I add perhaps, two arguments in asserting this confidence which we have. One is that, as mentioned here today, the Netherlands is a real honest broker. And second argument, which is in a way linked to this, the first one, comes from my own experience. I do remember that 12 years ago, it was exactly under the Dutch presidency that Romania managed to succeed in concluding the accession negotiations to the European Union. And indeed, this idea of working as an honest partner was most evident in all this process of negotiations. So I felt to introduce this personal dimension, and I said that we are very much confident in the success and the further progress in the European integration under the Dutch presidency. The complexity of the challenges confronting the EU today calls for a common approach based on the essentials, as it's written down in the program of the Dutch presidency. This is the reason why we are fully in line with the Dutch presidency objectives to focus on essentials, namely on those policies which with added value for the Union and for the Union citizens. Dear friends, a stronger, more competitive Union able to cope with the challenging global context is our common aim. To this end, we will support during the Dutch presidency all the measures aimed at deepening the single market, particularly boosting growth and employment, revitalizing the single market and its digital dimension. As indicated by the Commission in its recently published economic forecast, the EU economic recovery remains volatile, along with the more challenging global conditions. In this context, we must continue our common effort in order to consolidate a robust and sustainable economic growth. Investment and innovation are the key words to generate sustainable growth and new jobs. We need to send a strong common message of commitment towards the objective of growth recovery and job creation, reduction of disparities and convergence as prerequisites of a stable, prosperous, and more integrated union. Therefore, we support the objective of the of the Dutch presidency to have an innovative union focused on growth and jobs. Generating growth and jobs is a key condition to restore the confidence in the European Union's economic future. In the same vein, we fully agree on the need to consolidate the economic and monetary union. Avoiding splits and maintaining unity and coherence of the EU 28 decision-making process are prerequisites for a long-term stability of the Union. We believe that only a coordinated, transparent, and inclusive approach towards non-Euro member states could lead to a balanced and efficient solution for all the member states. At the same time, we are in favor of a fully fledged internal market in the field of energy. Increased joint efforts are needed to consolidate the energy security dimension, development of the necessary infrastructure, ensuring the diversification of energy sources, routes, and suppliers. We have noted that the Dutch objective to focus on reaching a union that empowers and protects all its citizens. Protect its citizens is above all guaranteeing all their rights as Europeans in accordance with the treaties and the EU acquis, a principle that we have clearly underlined, including in the recent debates and proposals regarding the future of the UK-EU relations. Our common support for the single market should also mean support for the undistorted implementation of the freedom of movement of persons and workers, which is embedded in the treaties and is therefore intangible. Recent developments in Europe and in its neighborhood have also revealed different views regarding the way we can better cope with those challenges. There is no doubt, however, that Europe must stand united in confronting them. The attacks in Paris proved once again that terrorism has become a major security concern for Europe and in Europe. The need for solidarity is now more acute than ever. Romania supports an enhanced cooperation between member states in order to ensure an effective response to this growing threat. EU efforts should be equally focused on preventive measures by addressing the socio-economic conditions of people belonging to communities most vulnerable to radicalization and recruitment. At the same time, Romania will continue to be part of the EU efforts to address the migration phenomenon, which is yet another very big challenge for us today, through a comprehensive approach. All attention should be given to the implementation of actions agreed so far in order to see effective and lasting solutions on the ground. It is also very important to keep the emphasis on dialogues and enhanced cooperation with the countries of origin and transit, based on mutual commitments and solutions, is the proper way to advance towards tackling the root causes of illegal migration, as the ambassador was saying. In the current context, a better management of the EU external borders is vital for the well-functioning and unity of the Schengen space, a démarche to our common benefit. Romania fully supports this objective and is already bringing an important contribution by successfully securing a large segment of the EU external border. At the same time, we continue to believe that a strong and extended Schengen area can provide us all a better and more efficient response to the current challenges. Dear friends, as regards the external relations dimension, we totally share the view that the EU's global role needs to be further strengthened. This begins, in fact, in the immediate vicinity of the Union. We will be successful in our external action only to the extent in which we are able to commit and project a vision for the stability and development of our partners in our immediate neighborhood. This is why the main objective of the revised European neighborhood policy, namely a stable neighborhood and a more differentiated EU offer to the partners, taking into account their individual needs and European choice, corresponds to our common interests. Romania will further promote the Eastern Partnership as the main framework of cooperation with the Eastern partners in the revised European neighborhood policy. Beyond the economic dimension of our partners' integration, via the implementation of these CFTAs, and a more ambitious EU approach should be envisaged as regards the political dimension of the EU offer. And I'm thinking here at the fact that, okay, the relations with these partners are now governed by the association, the CFTA agreements. But I think that the time has come for us to try to be more imaginative in devising the way to do in the future, with the perspective of the next EU Eastern Partners Summit, which is supposed to take place somewhere in 2017, and 2 years later in 2019. We have to give ourselves a perspective in even taking into account this time framework. We also need to stand by and help our partners as they are implementing the reforms. I am proud to highlight that Romania and the Netherlands are already working together on two important projects in the Republic of Moldova: assistance to the National Bank in Chișinău and training for magistrates. Regional cooperation contributes directly to the increasing security and stability. We believe that the Danube strategy and the Black Sea synergy are important tools to further develop the regional cooperation with positive effects for the European Union as a whole. We should continue to work together to improve the synergies of the various EU instruments relevant for our region. Romania will also contribute to the support the enlargement policy in the southeastern European region, a project of peace and stability that needs to be pursued with vision and increased political commitment. In conclusion, we have a complex agenda for the next 6 months. We are confident that the Dutch presidency, with its well-known pragmatism, will guide us well this semester. I wish you a very successful presidency, Stella, full of accomplishments to our common benefit. For a full and efficient management of what we already know we have to do, but equally, as you said, of what would be the unknown to us. That certainly would be the case that we have to confront with this. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Minister. Thank you very much, Mr. Ambassador.